Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. Something incredible for our profile has happened. This free-to-play account started August 1st. We like to play in Historic quite a bit, especially with the Azorius Artifacts deck, and this deck just got the biggest boost Wizards could have given it because Orcish Bowmaster has significantly changed. It no longer nukes most of our field as soon as it enters the battlefield. Let's talk a little bit about why that is so significant for this particular deck by going to untapped.gg. Looking at our win-loss rate against Mono Black has been 46%, as 6 wins, 7 losses, and against Rakdos we do a lot better with 9 wins and 7 losses, but sometimes Rakdos doesn't play Bowmasters. Mono Black always plays Bowmasters, and in those matchups we are going to be looking even better because Orcish Bowmasters does not do the thing whenever it enters the battlefield. Therefore, our Esper Sentinels are safe, our little servo artifacts are safe, our Ingenious Smith is safe. They're still going to have fatal pushes, they're still going to run removal, they're probably going to run more removal, but we do have some tricks in the sideboard that are going to help us in our upgraded deck, which we are going to go to right now, where we actually fight against that quite a bit. We could actually go down on Giver of Runes now, which is what I'm going to be doing, but we have this card called Recommission. Recommission, for 1 white and 1 generic, we could return target artifact or creature card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield, which means that if they kill Lurrus, we could get Lurrus back with Recommission, and it will be beautiful, it will be wonderful. Infinite sources of Lurrus of the Dream Den. That would be absolutely perfect. We're going to go in and see exactly how this does, but I do have to change a couple of things now that we are not going to have to deal with Orcish Bowmasters. We could actually reduce our reliance on Giver of Runes, go up an Esper Sentinel, go up a Retrofitter Foundry, and we need one more card, which is probably going to be a one more Glass Casket. Yeah, we get our 4th Esper Sentinel in here now. We go up on our Retrofitter Foundry because, lo and behold, Giver of Runes is not nearly as important, especially with Recommission. Slip out the backs, Fading Hopes, Metallic Rebukes, Glass Caskets, and Recommission in the sideboard. We also have 1 March of Swirling Mists. So I was working on this in order to deal with Bowmasters a little bit better, but I think I like where we are sitting with this deck currently right now. And let's get into the really deep, nerdy part of the video. We used to have to use Ensoul Artifact much sooner, unlike a Esper Sentinel or even a token from the Retrofitter Foundry, in order to keep pressure on the field to keep pressuring the opponent. Now we don't really have to. We could hold Ensoul Artifact for the Darksteel Citadel a little bit more consistently now. We drop the other tapped lands so that all of our lands come in untapped almost all of the time. I could even make the argument that we want 1 more Adarkar Wastes in here and 1 less Deserted Beach. That is actually probably something that we are going to do. We're going to be busting wild cards like crazy, but if they're lands and they can be used in any format, it's going to help us for the longevity of this profile anyway. Now, we don't have to really waste many resources on Esper Sentinel because it's going to get removed by Fatal Push, and it's also going to get removed by any of the other removal that Black is using. They use a plethora of 1 black, 1 generic removal. There's tons of them, so we won't get into too much detail about which ones are which, but that could still get removed. So having the Ensoul Artifact on Esper Sentinel really only protected it from the Orcish Bowmasters. On the other hand, being able to bump up that cost of X is quite interesting with Esper Sentinel because it almost guarantees a card draw, because this says whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. So if you make his power a 3 or a 4 or alas even a 5, they're going to have to pay a lot of mana for you not to get card advantage over time. I also moved Innovative Metatect up 1 for this particular deck because, and only because, we want to be drawing a lot of cards. The more cards we have, the better. And we could drop 3, 4, 5 cards in a single turn with this deck and not really be out of the question of really where we usually are. That's usually what we're doing. We're dropping 2 or 3 cards. By turn 3, turn 4, you should be top decking. But with Innovative Metatect and Esper Sentinel, you have more of a chance of having cards in your hand that you could still double cast during your turn, which is incredibly important. We do nothing on the opponent's turn except for sit back, wait, and maybe make a block here and there, or use Retrofitter Foundry to create a servo. We can do that on the opponent's turn as well. And when we're in the sideboard, however, we do have Metallic Rebukes that we could use. It has Improvise, and you could counter something, which is phenomenal. And we could also do stuff like Fading Hopes, About the Backs, March of Swirling Mist, and Recommission. Recommission is a sorcery, so never mind about that one. But our sideboard is mostly to pull control pieces in whenever we want to have more control over what the opponent is doing on their turn, specifically. But it's the same old deck. You have the Ingenious Smiths to find the Ornithopters, the Esper Sentinels, the Portable Holds, the Retrofitter Foundries, the Vault Skirges. Why Vault Skirge? Vault Skirge at first seems very, very weak, but the Phyrexian mana that is used to cast Vault Skirge is what makes this a staple in Magic the Gathering in general. This is one of, and same with Ornithopter. Ornithopter costing 0 is what makes Ornithopter good, but these 2 cards are pasted all over Magic the Gathering. If you know anything about Magic the Gathering, you probably know about Vault Skirges and Ornithopters. That's what makes them powerful, and being able to drop a Vault Skirge on turn 1, even paying up to 4 life if you drop a Hallowed Fountain, and then drop an Innovative Metatect on turn 2, and then swing, you get a card immediately off of that interaction right there. And that is phenomenal. It's really, really, really good. The only other things that I really need to say about this deck, and what we have now, is I've added 2 glass caskets to the main board because mono green is a thing. We're down 1 Ingenious Smith, which is fine because we do have 3 All That Glitters, 4 Ingenious Smiths, and 3 Innovative Metatects. So there. Oh, and of course, Ensoul Artifact. You might not be hitting a lot of your big hitters later on, though he will still grow whenever you put an artifact on the field. So looking at the top 4 cards of your library when he enters the battlefield and revealing an artifact from it is good, except for we reduce the amount of artifacts that we have in this. And I mostly did this for Giver of Ruins, which is no longer in the deck, but we do need ways to finish off the game quite rapidly. So All That Glitters at Michiko's Reign of Truth are super, super important. Ensoul Artifact, of course, you enchant an artifact and it becomes a creature with power and toughness of 5/5. Which is phenomenal because we can put that on the Darksteel Citadel, and it's indestructible. But a lot of times we're wanting to get this on flyers like Vault Skirge and Ornithopter in order to get that evasion damage off on the opponent really rapidly. The only real difference is if you're facing black, which you might want to wait for the Darksteel Citadel because of fatal pushes and stuff like that. But with Recommission on the sideboard, we're hoping to get around that by being able to cast the Recommission and get the Vault Skirge back, get the Lurrus of the Dreamed In back, get all of our things back. Black is actually one of the slowest that you could face, and you could kind of see that with our stats against Dimir, which we won 78% of the games against Dimir. This is a Dimir killer. Therefore, with Black having no more Orcish Bowmasters, maybe a sideboard piece against Azorius or something, that's going to change that quite dramatically. Also, the One Ring being a little bit worse might help us against Azorius, but probably not. So I kind of explained why we have Recommission here now. Now let's talk about the other things that we have. Fading Hopes, Slip Out the Backs, and March of Swirling Mist. Why do we have these in the sideboard? Well, we have those in the sideboard mostly because of Azorius control. It's very, very good, especially the 1 card to rule them all, which is Farewell. March of Swirling Mist gets around Farewell quite easily. If they have 5 mana and we're thinking a 6 mana comes down, the next turn we leave all of our mana up, we swing in, we do our business, and then whenever he tries to wipe the board, exile the graveyards, etc., we March of Swirling Mist, we keep our guys alive, and lo and behold, we still have the beat stick where hopefully he wiped out some important stuffs on his sides of the board, which is, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, the One Ring, right? Just off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it's a pretty good card. And if we don't have March of Swirling Mist, or we don't have much out on the board, Slip Out the Back and Fading Hopes will do the same job as those. And of course, if we could hard counter it, that's the best way to do it. Unless we wanted to go through and we march the things that we have on the board, he exiles all of his own stuff, and then we hit him on the backswing, right? So that's where we are with this deck. I'm really, really, really liking this deck a lot better now, especially with Orcish Bowmasters no longer a problem for us going forward. Thank you for joining today. Make sure that you've liked the video and subscribed to the channel, and let's get into it. And this is absolutely terrible. We could do some things, but we don't have any white or blue mana. Can we get away with Ornithopter and a Retrofitter Foundry for a few moments? It looks like we're about to find out, actually. So we're going to keep this. It's awkward. It's very awkward, but I think we can keep it. Opponent mulliganed, and that's exactly not the right card we wanted to see. We did not want to see Innovative Metatect. We are so far away from Innovative Metatect that we might not ever get it off. He's looking at that Ornithopter, but can't do anything about it. He drops a Lotus Field on turn 2 and stifles it. Fine. We will flip the Ornithopter. It looks like we are dealing with Azorius control. Fine. Opponent passes to us. We swing in, give him the business, drop Vault Skirge, pass the turn. If we get a white mana, we get to Michiko's Reign of Truth. If we get a blue mana, we get to Ensoul Artifact. We probably want to get Esper Sentinel down as early as we can. He's looking at the Vault Skirge, so really hoping for a little bit of luck here on the draws. I do want to apologize a little bit for being away so often, but heck, this is a free-to-play account. I'm trying to build up from scratch. He said, oops. Gets the Thespian stage. As well as the fact that I have been incredibly busy over the past few months. Absolutely brokenly busy. And it looks like we're never going to get the land. Looks like we're never going to get another land in our hand, so this might be us slowly dying over time. But we're still able to make drops with Retrofitter Foundries. We have 2 on the field. They don't matter so much. We only need 1, really, and we're kind of setting ourselves up to be in a little bit of danger. Now he's got tons of mana. Doesn't he have to sacrifice lands? Maybe not. No, he doesn't. My word. All right, no land still. We come in, we hit him down to 6. We draw a white mana, we win. If we don't, we're probably going to lose this one because he's going to fare well, and then that's it. We did keep a 1 mana hand, so it's kind of our fault. I know. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand or the top of your library without paying its mana cost. Boy's gonna do some great things with one with a multiverse. I was not expecting Mana Flare at all. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 mana of any type of land that produced. That could actually end up helping us-ish. No, because we still need white for any of our stuff to really start happening. So let's see if we draw a white land. Come on. No. Everything is dead in our hand. But opponent seems to just be playing a game where he likes to collect lands. So let's see what he wants to do with it. He has so many lands, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have a Darksteel Citadel. Can one Darksteel Citadel beat that? That land base right there before us. Well, we are about to find out. 4 into another Lotus Field. He's still building up his mana, which is incredible. We might actually win this one. He even sacks lands. Interesting. He has 3, 6, 7, 8 lands left. Can your 8 lands beat my 1? Colorless land. Looking at the Foundry, Magnus Opus. That's fine. We still got Vault Skirge in the air. That's indestructible, buddy. Uh-huh. Oh, he tapped him. Tapped the Retrofitter Foundry, tapped the Darksteel Citadel, killed the servo. Another Magnus Opus, and we're dead, I guess? Thank you a lot, Shuffler. I really appreciate drawing no lands. This is fantastic, and we're getting roped into absolute oblivion. Give me a land, please. A land would be... All right, okay. You know what? We're just going to concede. Man, oh man. All right, so in the sideboard, what do we want to sideboard in? Slip out the backs could be good. Metallic Rebukes are going to be very, very good. We're going to go down an Ingenious Smith. We're going to go down Portable Holes. Don't think they're going to be very helpful, and down to one Glass Casket. So very, 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 very boring match. We drew a Darksteel Citadel and had a land full of dead stuff, while the opponent continued to play Solitaire. Well, de-frizzle. We shall go again, and we're going to get our revenge here a little bit. We almost won without having any lands. Now that we have lands, things are going to be looking a lot different. This is a keep. This is a hard keep. We got the Citadel. Then we got the Adarkar Wastes into Deserted Beach. Good land base. I got a little greedy keeping that last hand, but here we are. Drop the Citadel. Drop the Ornithopter. Drop the Vault Skirge. Past the turn. Opponent. Tapped land past the turn. Alright, well, we now have lands, sir. Michiko's Reign of Truth or All That Glitters? All That Glitters is probably the first thing that happens. We're going to go ahead and put this on the Scourge. Pull back the Ornithopter. 5. There we go. This is how this deck is supposed to work. We haven't seen Mono Black. This is the first deck that we've faced. I'm not quite sure what he's doing. He seemed to have a lot of Solitaire that he was doing. Lotus Field, then he's going to stifle it and pass back to me. That's fine. Last time he just collected mana for the first 10 turns. So with that in mind, I don't have any faith that his deck's any good. We could Ensoul Artifact here. I think we do. Yeah. Put it on the Citadel. Oh, nope, 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 nope. We need to swing with that. All right, that's 11. This guy's going to be a piece of cake with actual lands. Down to 4. We are at 28. Mana Flare ain't going to help at all. Yep, we won. Yeah, see what happens when we have more than one land that's colorless? Yep, Explorer doesn't matter. Don't care. Oh, there's another land. Another Explorer. Cool. It's kind of a cool little deck. It really is. Now he's up to 4 land. Interesting. He passes. He says good game. We're going to swing. And lo and behold, indeed, it was a game. I don't know how good it was, but it was a game. And let's just go in again. This might make the video, this might not. Opponent seems to not really understand how fast Historic is. Cool little deck. It does a lot of things, but it's just a little bit slow. And here we go. We had the Metallic Rebukes. Tap land first. Not a whole lot we could do with this, so we're going to mulligan that one. Got the Innovative Metatect. We have Foundry. I don't like this hand either. But we do have a Metallic Rebuke. We do have a Foundry. So we'll drop the Foundry this turn and hope that we draw untapped land. But we have not been good at drawing land in this particular matchup at all. Our opponent can get all of the land. But we could get none of it. Hey, there we go. Untapped land. Make a little guy. And that's all we can really do. Opponent passes to his turn. Whatever shall he do? We do have Deserted Beach, and then we start growing the servo, it looks like. Here comes Stifle. Discontinuity, that works. Yeah, I mean, cool little deck. It is slow. We do the Metatect here. We swing. We poke him for 1. We get another Innovative Metatect out of the deck. That's actually pretty good. It's a little slow on our end, but we know our opponent is very slow, so we could be a little bit slower in this matchup. I have never seen a player so dedicated to lands. It's actually quite incredible. Might as well use the land, get it in the air. It has evasion now. And we have the land to dump, so I mean, it is what it is. We could even do one of these numbers. I think it's time to start getting massive damage off. We don't need that second Innovative Metatect. Ensoul Artifact on the Retrofitter Foundry. What thinks you of that? Abrade on the Retrofitter Foundry. We will counter your Abrade. Unless you pay 3, he has 3. Heck. Lotus Field got me. 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, what we'll do is we will just make another servo. I guess we're playing a slow one, guys. That's just what's happening. Swing in the air for 1. Takes it. We get another card. Perfect. Isn't that brilliant? Innovative Metatect for gaining a little bit of an advantage against D-Fizzle, Mr. Control Player. There's another Lotus Field, and then a Stifle. He finally had the Stifle. Good for him. We find another Retrofitter Foundry. We're going to play it. Foundry. Gets through. Interesting. All that glitters on the Thopter. What thinks you of that? You're fine with it. Cool. Well, what thinks you of swinging in for 5? Should have swung with the servo as well, but always better to be cautious against these guys, the control players. We don't see white, so maybe no board. No, Lotus Field can be white. It definitely can. So he really has access to all colors. He's going to remove something, probably a Magnus Opus. There it is. And he's used way too much mana. Counter it. Gone. Is that scoopable? You got a blue now. All right. So, Michiko's Arena of Truth. Okay. Michiko's Arena of Truth. Ornithopter, and that's it. The game is over. Yeah, it's incredible what happens when you actually draw your lands. Wow. Should not have kept that first hand, but hey, we actually got to see a little bit about what his deck does. It's kind of cool once it gets going, but Historic is a very, very fast format. Maybe that's why he's playing in gold. His deck's not fast enough. I think Magnus Opus was literally like the first thing that he really had. So, real slow, but we're happy with it. Match numero 2, and this is completely unkeepable. Mulligan, and that's better. That is certainly better. I'm really thinking about getting rid of the Citadel here. That might be wrong, but turn 1 we could get Vault Skirge out. Nah, Esper Sentinel. Turn 2, Innovative Metatect. Swing with the Sentinel. Perfect. Sentinel. I like it. I like it. Want to see how he kind of responds to Esper Sentinel on the board. Maybe he's going to remove it right meow. He kind of looked at it a little bit long. He is in Platinum, so he should know what this does. I'll play with fire. He's just trying to figure out if he wants to really get rid of it. And he does. He does waste his whole second turn on getting rid of the Esper Sentinel, though. Can no longer use Bowmasters there, sir. Even though your colors don't seem like they want to do that. Let me turn down this desktop sound a little bit. Arcanist. All right. Sleight of Hand. Well, we definitely want to get that off of the field. So we're going to actually use our turn to get the Arcanist off, because whenever this attacks, right, you may cost instant or sorcery from the graveyard. We're versing the Wizards deck. This is probably the only deck that we're actually really honestly weak against, is the Wizards deck. Because they just have so many wizards and so many cantrips that they just get to where they need to go before we get to where we need to go. That's just the nature of that deck. Metatect. Michiko's Reign of Truth. But we are never out of it until we're dead. Swing in with the Vault Skirge down to 14. Gets to seek a card. It is another Innovative Metatect. We're expecting a lot of removal, though. Is it Wizards? Maybe that is a deck that we go after soon. That is a slow play. 3 Metatects? Get out of here. Get out of here. It's certainly a thing. I mean, we'll take it. I'll take this. We get 3 cards now. Holy crap. Just when you thought you had us. No, he's out. I have never have I ever gotten 3 Innovative Metatects onto the battlefield. That is actually hilarious. We're probably going to want a couple more glass caskets. And as hilarious as Innovative Metatect is, we're going to go down one of those. We're also going to go down one All That Glitters. Just more dedication to actual artifacts, because we're going to have to get a lot of damage off very quickly. That was hilarious, though. 3 Innovative Metatects. I guess that's one way to push somebody out of a game, is just to put 3 Innovative Metatects, and every single time you do damage to your opponent, you draw 3 cards, or you seek 3 non-land cards, which is even better. And we'll see what round 2 has to say. Round 1 was very acceptable. Round 2, I don't know if we could do that again. We're going to take 4 life and get the Vault Skirge going. Pay 2, drop Skirge, pass the turn, opponent. Drops a land. We get an Arcanist. Alright, that's actually kind of perfect. That's 2 cost. Yeah, we could grab the Portable Hole, play it forward, grab the Arcanist, swing for 1, drop Beach, and pass the turn. There's a canal. And I think now we start to get Innovative Metatect into the match. Let's see if we can resolve it. It looks like he's thinking about countering this, or removing the Skirge. It enters the battlefield. Interesting. What else? Huh. He grabs his Arcanist back. Interesting. Get a Foundry. That's good. Well, we dropped the Foundry. We could grab the Arcanist back, but he's probably going to get a nice swing and get Flame of Anor again. So he gets some value here out of his Arcanist. And we're really hoping he kind of goes after the Retrofitter Foundry. It's another Flame of Anor. He kills the Metatect, which is fine. That's a good target. Play with Fire on the Skirge. He's down to 3 cards. Gets a Play with Fire right on my face. Little scry action. Gets an extra damage off. Not the most interesting move. But we do have a Darksteel Citadel. We have a Glass Casket, which we're definitely going to use to grab the Arcanist. And then I think we put this on the Citadel. That's a 5/5 indestructible. He's going to have a lot of trouble dealing with that. Expressive Iteration, not scary. 1 in a hand, what, exile land? No, a sleight of hand. Okay. Sage, sleight of hand. Okay. You don't get any, nothing special there. Well, usually we struggle a little bit against this particular deck, but I don't think we're going to struggle all day today. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen, guys. And we've had a more varied field. We've seen less Rakdos. We've seen less mono black. All we've seen so far is a control build that seemed to really take the form of all 5 colors, as well as this Is It Wizard decks. So interesting stuff, but we haven't seen the big bad mono black since Orcish Bowmasters is no longer a card that is playable. And this is actually not terrible. We got the Michiko's Reign of Truth, grows the Citadel, and he scoops. So a deck that we generally struggle with this deck, we're able to get through quite easily. It didn't give us hardly any trouble at all. We haven't had to use our recommission and stuff like that, though. We haven't seen any black at all. Is black just kind of scared out of the arena now because they cannot Orcish Bowmasters at every deck in human existence besides mono black? No, even mono black, because they usually Orcish Bowmasters. And then with Rakdos, Orcish Bowmaster Crucius. Interesting. Into the next match. Sentinel into Innovative Metatect into Ensoul Artifact. Like it. A little bit Boros action. I can really appreciate it. Mr. I don't got no sleeves either. Ain't nobody got money for that. I can appreciate it. Starting with the Sentinel. He plays Mana Confluence and the Halfling. Okay. Well, the question is yeah, I think we do want to get rid of that. We don't want him ramping into something crazy, right? Drop the Reliquary, drop the Glass Casket, steal the Halfling, swing for 1 past the turn. Slow and steady wins a race. We got a Plaza of Heroes, and he's got a Chromatic Sphere. So he's probably playing Baubles or something similar. Innovative Metatect, swinging for 1. And we get ourselves an Ingenious Smith, which is fantastic. That allows us to get yet another card out of our library. A Great Hall of the Citadel. What are you on? Mox Ember. There it is. Now the real question is can he start the combo? Emery. That's a good start. That is a very good start. Kitus to the bin, Mox Amber to the bin, Relic of Legends, good stuff all around, but it doesn't look like he's going to quite be able to get it off quite yet, and getting that land there is really, really unfortunate. Let's see what we can get with Ingenious Smith. We're going to go with a Retrofitter Foundry, dropping the land. Dropping Ornithopter to grow the Smith. And I think that we want an Ensoul Artifact on the Esper Sentinel. And swing. This allows us to get 5 damage off and, more importantly, seek a card. I hate facing this deck too. I really don't like it. There's so many things that he could do. Sacks it, draws a card, makes a blue. I can keep getting that Chromatic Sphere back. There's the Jace. He's close to it. He is very, very close. Okay, so he mills 3. And then draws a card. Another Jace in the bin. Plaza of Heroes, Breeding Pool, so not a whole lot. He needs the other guy. He doesn't have him yet. So I'm thinking we're pretty close to just winning this. We do have Glass Casket in our hand to get rid of the Emery, which is going to dramatically change the game. I don't think he could quite do it yet. Basically what he's trying to do is play 2 legendaries from his bin, but he has had a little bit of trouble filling that bin up, and that's where we're going to take full advantage of, starting right now. Dropping Ingenious Smith. Growing Smith, grabbing Ornithopter. Playing Glass Casket. grabbing the Emery, growing both Smiths. Okay, next, swing for 5, 6 at face, 3 at Jace. Ha, I was a poet and didn't know it. 6 at face, 3 at Jace. We get it. We seek a card with the Innovative Metatect. And we get all that glitters. Oh, wish I had that a little bit earlier. We could drop another Ornithopter, and then we could drop a Retrofitter Foundry. And really kind of set ourselves up for the next turn. Pass. Your turn. Can you do it? You have 4 cards in hand. Plenty of mana. Sacks the Mox Ember. Or sacks the Chromatic Sphere. He scoops it up. That's it. He scoops. He scoops. So far, undefeated. We're probably going to want 2 Metallic Rebukes in here. And we'll go down to All That Glitters. All That Glitters is kind of to see if we could just aggro the opponent off of the field. Metallic Rebuke, if we could just counter Jace whenever it comes around, we're looking really solid. So we're going to do it like that. Seachrome Coast, Reliquary. Mana is okay. We're going to keep this one, especially getting the Esper Sentinel on the board. He'll have to pay for those Mox Embers and stuff like that, which is kind of perfect. Should have put more removal in this, but, you know, beggars and choosers. We're already beyond that moment now. Kitus, that's the one he needed. That is the exact one that he needed. We're going to try to find our removal. We did not. Not perfect. This might be a quick matchup, guys. We can get Reliquary down, then maybe a Vault Skirge and All That Glitters on the Sentinel. I think that's kind of our best approach. Chromatic Sphere. We get to draw a card. Fantastic. It is a Hallowed Fountain, which is actually okay. I accept that. Sacks it, draws a card. Now he has the hidden hand here. But, yeah, he does have the Jace. Okay, okay. We were not able to counter the Jace because we do not have Metallic Rebuke in hand. It is quite the shame. And next turn, he's looking very, very good. Yeah, exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard. Until the end of turn, each legendary card in your graveyard gains. You may play this card from your graveyard. Yep, that's the one. It's going to do it now. Aha, he did have the Mox Amber. Which means he's probably got it. Only has 1 mana available, and we get a Glass Casket. Yes, okay, perfect. We're going to drop a Hallowed Fountain. We're going to pay 2. We're not going to try to trick him or anything. We're going to play the Glass Casket right now, just in case he tries to counter or something like that. Grabbing the Kythus. Swinging. There's 3 more damage. And I think we want another Esper Sentinel. Moving nice and slow. He doesn't have the Kythus anymore, so we could kind of go slow. There's Kinnan, very good card for this deck. You kind of need Rona, Kinnan, Kythus, and Jace. And once you have those 4 cards, put a lot of bubbles in there, like Mox Amber, the Chromatic Sphere, and really whatever else you want. But those are the important ones. We get to draw a couple of cards here. Fantastic. Can he get it? He gets to draw only a single card. Only 18 cards in his bin so far. And Agatha's Cauldron is out. Interesting. People are using Agatha's Soul Cauldron for this. So you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate abilities of creatures you control. Creatures you control with 1/1 counters on them have all activated abilities. That's not going to matter for this deck, but exile target card from a graveyard When a creature card is exiled this way, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. I can see that having some sort of effect on these kind of games. Maybe not the absolute best synergies I've ever seen, but still decent. Grow the Sentinel. Let's see. 5. We just need to do 12 damage. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He scoops. Still undefeated. 3 wins, no losses. A lot of that might be from experience on playing this deck as well, because I have played well over 20 hours with Azorius Artifacts. And that really does make a difference, knowing exactly what your strengths are, exactly what your weaknesses are. And this deck is not so much a weakness unless he could get really lucky with getting the Kitten, getting the, where is it? Go away. The Kythus, as well as Jace in the opening hand, and having Mox Ambers and whatever going to the bin. If he gets really, really lucky, he could win. But most of the time, this kind of a combo deck just cannot keep up with Azorius Artifacts. Esper Sentinel and Ingenious Smith, obviously stronger than your entire deck. All right, 3 matches down. In 3 matches, we have yet to see a mono-black player. We're going to go again. We're going to see if we can find mono-black. But I think they might be in hiding. I really do. Here we go. Scourge, opening hand. Always good with the Ensoul Artifact and Darksteel Citadel. I like it. It's a keepable hand for sure. Get the Vault Skirge out. A lot of people were asking whether to hold Ensoul Artifact for the Citadel. But I'm going to make an argument that you don't. And here's why. If I were to play the Citadel and connect the Ensoul Artifact to Darksteel Citadel, we would still only get 5 damage off. But if I go ahead and attach that to Ornithopter, now we get 6 damage off on turn 2. Unless he Jwari disrupts it. Same thing would have happened if he did it on the Darksteel Citadel. Usually people only carry 1, maybe 2 copies of Jwari Disruption. But if he has Jwari Disruption, he has other counter spells. So we will try to cast Ingenious Smith. And let him counter it if he does so desire. He stifles it. That's fine. Swinging for 1. Azorius control over Dimir control. Strict Proctor. And he drops an island. Fine. We finally find another land. That's good. We should probably drop the Esper Sentinel first. Decline. Oh, wait, we can't. But what we can do is grow the Scourge. Grow the Thopter. Opponent. March. And he pays the 1, so he might have me. He might have me. Really well played. Stifles, all the things. Drop this. Huh. I won't pay. We will cast the Michiko's Reign of Truth, however. So we need to start getting some sort of damage off on him. There's 6 lifelink, baby. Okay. Memory Deluge. We get to draw a card off of it. It is a Retrofitter Foundry, which is good. We need 1 more land to be able to cast Glass Casket and take that Strict Proctor away. That's going to be, oh, perfect. Perfect. Oh, that comes in tapped. So maybe not so perfect. Swing. 6 more damage, baby. He blocks. Awesome. Awesome. We get to save our Glass Casket then. And we also get to Grower Smith a little bit. And we get to draw a card. Okay. We might be in this one. Strange as that is. We are pretty far behind, though. There's Teferi. Oh, boy. And we don't even get a card. Absolutely disgusting. Draw a card, and then he gets to untap a couple of lands, which is going to be Lotus Field. And he has a Hall of the Storm Giants. Gross. Before going to my turn, we're going to sacrifice the Ornithopter. Grows a Smith. Stifle! Boy, oh boy. This guy's always got the answer, doesn't he? I can appreciate that. Innovative Metatect. Go 3 here, 1 here. We get another Esper Sentinel. No. Don't play into a board wipe on purpose. Pick up Lurrus. Pass. Very, very hard matchup for us. This deck is absolutely phenomenal. Supreme Verdict. I knew board wipe was coming, man. Knew it. Okay. Portable Hull. Dropping Lurrus. Yeah, alright. Returns it to my hand. That's fine. I guess we just end the turn. These are always the most challenging matchups because now he's in full control of this game. White-blue control is just so good. It kind of was in the shadows with what do you call him? The Bowmasters in, but now that Bowmasters is gone, they're going to have full reign of the arena, I think. But that's why we focus on Azorius stuff. My deck is fairly cheap, and it's very moddable, but this is obviously the best deck in the format. Well, we're going to try to drop a glass casket here. And we are going to pay. Takes the Strict Proctor. He memoried a Lucius. We're fine with this. A Stifle would be very painful. Okay. I think we have to ignore that Teferi, right? No, we can't. We've got to hit that Teferi. Wandering Emperor. Makes a 2/2. Okay. Now we can let this go and grab a portable hole, take the Samurai. But I need to keep some pressure on the field. So we sack it, put it in the air. We're very close to being able to go off if he has no counters in his hand, but he definitely has counters in his hand, right? Comes in for 3, no blocky. That vigilance is so strong, too. The infinite value engine is here. Oracle of the Alpha. Now he's got the, what do you call it? The Power 9 in his deck. Portable hole. Grabbing that. Esper Sentinel. Goes through. Ensoul Artifact on the Citadel. opponent. He's probably going to counter this. He does not. We move on. And I think we attack the Teferi. And then we use one to go at face. Commit. Okay. Yeah, he sets up the block. We can still sacrifice it to the Retrofitter Foundry. But I don't see a whole lot of ways around all of this. Sack it. We'll get a 4/4. Opponent sure takes his time, but he is a skilled player. Draw a card at the beginning of the next end step. Untap 2 lands. So pluses on the Teferi. The Teferi is very close to ultimating. And when he ultimates, the game is over. He plays a Black Lotus because that's fair. Totally, 100% fair. It's probably the weakest of them, though, for his deck in particular. Dropping Lurrus. Archmage's Charm. He's definitely going to pay. And I'm going to call this one GG's. So now we know most of his deck. It is Oracle of the Alpha, Wandering Emperor, Teferi, Archmage's Charm. Commit, he's probably got 1 or 2 copies of this. Commit to memory. Supreme Verdict, probably 3 copies. March, probably a single copy. Jwari, probably 2. Stifles, 4. Lotus Fields, 4 of the guys that turn into Lotus Fields. And, yeah, so we know his deck now. We want the Metallic Rebukes. We want Recommission. We want Glass Casket. Go down 2 Innovative Metatects. Get rid of all 3. We don't need those. We'll go down a Retrofitter Foundry. We need to get rid of 4 more cards. 1 All That Glitters. 2 Ingenious Smiths. What? Why are you doing that? Okay. Well, we're going to ignore that and hope to God that it doesn't mess up our mana base. Go down 1 more Retrofitter Foundry. The reason I want to do it like this is because this allows us to counter some of his things. It allows us to get his Alpha off of the field. It allows us to get the Strict Proctor off of the field. All of his creatures are very, very dangerous creatures. Very dangerous creatures. And we want to make sure that they stay off the field. Metallic Rebuke to try to counter his Planeswalkers, or the Strict Proctor a little bit early in the game. And I think that we have an okay chance. Kind of a terrible hand, but it could actually be kind of ideal against his. Awesome. So we're going to be able to get the Smith off. We drew yet another land. We find a Thopter, though. Okay. Of course he has it immediately. Michiko's Reign of Truth. Swing in for 5. Blocks the 2. And he's already got the Lotus Field out. Ooh, I was going to say that's a little bit aggressive. Grows the Thopter. Drops a Citadel. We will decline. Glass Casket. And we have to decline the one for Ingenious Smith and accept the one for Glass Casket. Ouch. That really bites. All right. We'll come in. That's 5 more. Down to 14. Next turn we could Glass Casket yet again. Oracle of the Alpha. It's pretty early for it. And he's got Strict Proctor on the board. That is strong. That is certainly strong. All right, we will pay. Swinging for 3. Really? Well, we'll attack that Strict Proctor. Now that that Strict Proctor is gone. 1, 2, 3. Good. We still have Metallic Rebuke up. We'll grab Oracle. I think that was a mistake. Teferi costs 4 or 5. Memory Deluge. We rebuke that. He cannot pay for it. Okay, Ensoul Artifact. Put it here. Auto pay. Whew. That's 12. A Supreme Verdict would really hurt. But we'll pick up the Lurrus and try to set up a situation for when that happens. And if he wipes out Citadel and all that stuff, we could play Ensoul Artifact from the graveyard. Memory Deluge not strong here. It is his turn. He did not do that on mine. Which means I think we got him for game 2. Okay. And he's dead. Target player draws 3 cards. That is an insane card. Ancestral Recall. 4/1. Target player draws 3 cards. Holy crap. We got recommissions. We got Metallic Rebukes, but nothing else. Only 1 land. I've done this before, but I'm going to do it again. We're doing it live. All right. If we draw any land, we look good. We look intelligent. If we do not draw land, we look really dumb. Hey, never didn't have it, baby. Never didn't have it. All right, Ensoul Artifact. Swing. Never didn't have it. And there's a Lotus Field with the strict Proctor out, which means he gets free mana, and the game has crashed. I will be right back. I am going to chalk that crash up to me and the opponent are just such good players that the arena just cannot handle our amazingness. We did not get land. Sorry, I had to rope you. My game crashed, buddy. Swing. Takes it down to 8. Dropping Vault Skirge. Passing the turn. I might just be able to aggro right through this. Keeping a 1-mana hand on a mulligan is, well, I mean, if it works, right? Oracle of the Alpha. Of course he has it. Ensoul Artifact on the Skirge. Don't have a counter. Yes, he doesn't have a counter. Awesome. Down to 4 cards in hand. He's going to have to make some blocks here. Down to 3. What else? Mana. Tapping for blue Ancestral Recall. If you don't pay 5, I get to draw a card. Okay. I thought I was going to actually pay it. I was going to be like, whoa. Blowing my mind there, bro. Wandering Emperor. That is strong. That is certainly strong. Oh, fateful absence. Oh, and we are down to square one. We're going to do this. Rawr. I'll always have an attack. Man. Pay the 2. Get the Vault Skirge out. We get all that glitters on it. We could also recommission on the Skirge, but I think I would rather wait for the Lurrus. We're doing all right in this match. We're doing okay. If he removes the artifact, okay, I'm fine with this. I'm also fine with this. Tapped land pass. All that glitters. Targeting Skirge. And he uses a commit. We'll drop a Skirge. Recommission doesn't really help us right here. But if we pick up the Lurrus, get the Lurrus kind of ready and prepped. We go down to 9. That's brutal. And a Castle Vantress. Oh. Maybe he just got unlucky. And this is why I like these irrigated farmlands. You can cycle them later on if you're a control build. And this actually probably helps us. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. It's not quite big enough. So we're going to have to hope to get really lucky here. Grab the Vault Skirge. Drop Michiko's Reign of Truth. Do you have a response? No. Target the Vault Skirge. Swing. I am so scared. I am so scared. Scry's 2. That's good for us. That's very, very, very good for us. But he puts them on top, which is bad, and we did it. Oh, we did it. Oh, man, that was hard. Wow. This guy knows how to sling some cards. He knows how to play this deck really well. And he was very smart on what he removed the entire time. We just had too much going on. And recommission was the thing that basically won this match for us. That's fantastic. Just being able to get things out of the graveyard. We were countering things. We were doing all kinds of things with this deck. As said, this is why I kind of built this deck the way I have now, to have a little bit more control over what happens on my side of the field and what we could do with our graveyard. And it seemed to really pay dividends right there. It really did. It was fantastic. Okay, first time I've ever seen this one, an Omen Hawker, guys. Fantastic. And we did get our 2 rares for the day. I always try to aim for at least 2 rares a day, and it hasn't really been a problem thus far. That's fantastic stuff. Academy Loremaster. I actually like Academy Loremaster. Kind of almost works like a white card, where if one person is getting a benefit, everybody gets a benefit, but there's always a price to the benefit. You know, I kind of like the card. Wow, we still have not seen mono black at all, which is blowing my mind. No Rakdos either. A lot of control builds, and some just weird stuff. We saw mono green. We saw all kinds of other things. Well, it's been about an hour and a half. The video will be about an hour and a half at this point. So let's go to talk about this again, and we're going to talk about what happened. What we saw, at least in this small sample size, was no Orcish Bowmasters to see. None. We did not see black played as a color at all. Nothing in black. No Yawgmoth, no Dimir Control, no mono black with Ring and Shieldred the Apocalypse. None of that stuff at all. All we saw was a bunch of control builds and a couple mono green things, and then we were there. And the powerful thing about this deck, especially now, was Orcish Bowmasters made this deck much weaker than it actually was. I was willing to continue to play it because it's just so good without that 1 ping of damage. And I just assumed that Orcish Bowmaster was there. They have 8 pieces of removal. They have 4 fatal pushes. Then they have the 4 Bowmasters, as well as 4 of whatever else, and I was able to play it to a 40-50% win rate even there, so I was okay with allowing that to be the case. But now, I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of mono black. This was a small sample. We only played 5 rounds. Oh, we played 4 rounds. Yeah, and with this deck in particular, we are undefeated, 3-0 with it, and it brings up our overall win rate with this deck to 52%. And now we haven't changed these at all, but we did pull up on Azorius, which we did very well against, and we went out against that really weird 5-color kind of hodgepodge deck, which didn't do very well. Not sure what he was doing, but it did well. I'm really happy with the results of this. I'm actually really excited that Orcish Bowmasters is no longer going to be the only card you have in black. If you're playing black, you play Orcish Bowmasters. If you're playing black, you play Orcish Bowmasters, Shields of the Apocalypse, and the One Ring. And that's now changing, which means that there's going to be more diversity in the arena. And this deck really has a chance to shine because it already crushes mono green. And it plays really closely with Azorius control. And, of course, we didn't see the Golgari. We saw nothing with black at all today, and that might continue into the future. Is it Wizards we play 5-1 against with these kinds of decks? And I mean, we just completely crush the rest of the meta. Mono black was the one place that this deck really struggled with when it struggled, and lo and behold, you see that this is 1-1, but that's a little bit deceptive. Whenever I started the video, I accidentally pulled up Azorius Artifacts Historic 2, and I wanted Historic Artifacts Historic 3. So overall, with these two kind of decks, we are 4-0. So ever since Orcish Bowmasters became nerfed, and yeah, that would explain a lot of why we aren't seeing a whole lot of black right now. Maybe people are just trying to figure out a way around it. There's always a way around things in Magic the Gathering, and that's part of the beauty of this game in general. But overall, I think that this deck is really going to shine, and it might actually be a contender for tournaments going forward. I would love to see Azorius Artifacts. Affinity used to be a deck, and it was generally Azorius. Affinity was you basically cheat things out earlier and earlier with all the artifacts that you play. This is a version of that, but they're not really played anymore because the affinity stuff is kind of too slow. You want to be getting damage off a lot faster. And now we're just pumping things to the moon, which is the modern standard for this stuff. But I think that we've got a deck that's close to being perfected to play against multiple different things. We even had a couple of really close matches, especially that last match against a very skilled Azorius control player. And we found a way to sneak around all of his little tricks. We got through all the crags and crannies and finally got the damage off and finished the opponent off. I'm really happy with where this deck is right now, and it's going to make this free-to-play account a lot easier to collect cards in, especially since the deck is entertaining to play, on top of the fact that it wins most of the time. And with Orcish Bowmasters not being quite as strong as it used to be, we are even in an even better position to move forward with this deck. Hope you enjoyed the matches today. Hey, if you stuck around this long, you guys are the true OGs. You guys are great. I really appreciate you guys out there. Make sure that you've liked the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Community is fantastic, and this community is a really great group of people. Thank you guys for being part of the community, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye.